So, welcome to the front. In this video, we're going to go through a beginner guide. I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks for this game. And we're going to jump straight in, and if you've played Ark or anything like it, you will have a basic understanding of this game already. It's fairly similar, with the main difference being that you don't go around taming dinosaurs, and this is much more early access. There's a lot more bugs, there's less features, and just so that you guys know, this isn't in an official server or anything like that. This is a guide that's based on a hosted game that I've made with my friends. We've got custom settings on, like when we loot a chest, instead of getting, for an example, 10 talent books, we're going to get like 900. But not only that, we have things on as well, like not dropping items upon death, because when you create your own hosted game, you have the freedom to increase your tether distance and things like that. There's lots of different custom settings you can apply. But the very first actual tip we're going to get into is how to split items in this game, because it doesn't give you, like, pretty much any tutorial. You have a bunch of tasks when you first start, but there's a lot of functions in this game that are not explained. So if we go into our inventory and we have a look, for an example, let's just say here we've got 180 iron ingots. In order to split them, because you can click on it, you can press D to drop. If you was to click on, for an example, there's corn, you can press C to use it. You can also hold down your middle mouse button or your scroll wheel and you can drag one into another slot. But in order to split them, what you want to do is hold your right mouse button and drag it into an empty slot. Then it's going to give you the option to split, and you can put in your own custom number. So say I want 50 there. Then I press space to confirm, and it's going to give me 50 there and take those out of that stack. And then the moment you get into this game, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start punching trees. That's how you're going to get your, like, beginning resources. So if we come over to a tree and we've just got our fists equipped, you're just going to punch the tree. You're going to get some fiber, and occasionally you'll get a bit of wood. So by doing that, when you start the game, you're going to get your basic materials, but you're going to need a lot more than that. So pay attention to your crafting tab for things like a sleeping bag. So if we go to crafting, I've got a load of stuff here that I can craft because I've made a decent amount of progress in this game. But there are really, really important things in this crafting tab, like your sleeping bag. I don't think this actually works properly at the moment because it says it's used as a revival point after death. You do have some novice protection until you're level 10 unless you turn that setting off. But even after being level 10, having a sleeping bag put down at our base, we were still able to, like, our only option when we were respawning was to respawn exactly where we died. So I'm not entirely sure how the sleeping bag works. I don't think it has a function in the game at the moment, but when it does get fixed eventually, when they've made more progress with the early access, the sleeping bag will work so that it's used as a revival point. But it's not just sleeping bags. You've got bonfires where you can cook your food and stuff. There's so many things in the crafting tab that you need to pay attention to. And not only that, if we go to the tasks, there are a bunch in this game. It basically gives you a task to build every individual item, and there are so many available. When you have the task list on, because you can turn it off, which is what I've done, you'll have a massive, like, thing on the, like, a box on the UI on the right-hand side of your screen that will tell you exactly what you've got to do. But the problem with it being early access is that there are tasks that don't work, like, for an example, collecting crude oil. The crude oil task, no matter how many times we've tried it, no matter how many different ways we've tried collecting crude oil, it has never worked for us. So just be careful with the tasks in this game. They're going to be incredibly helpful, but some of them are broken. And the fastest ways to level up so that you unlock more stuff in this game is by adding tasks into the mix. So make sure you're actually doing the tasks you can. But mining, crafting stuff, and tree chopping are really, really good XP sources, but mining is by far the best. So getting yourself a pickaxe, going and hitting bits of stone. These ones on the beach here don't count. But if you see there's an iron, like, ore deposit thing here, going and smacking that is going to give you a decent amount of XP, especially early in the game, one of the best sources of experience. And next up is if you are low on ores, for an example, we have some iron ore rocks over here. If you're low on them, you can't find any, you don't want to go off exploring, what you can do in your furnace is you can use the advanced refinement option. It's going to use 3 stone every single time, but it's going to craft a random ore. So over on the right hand side, in the consumable bar, this is where you put your wood, your fuel for the fire. So we've got some wood in there, it tells you the time left, we've got 8 minutes. And then the inventory bar is where you want to put your resources that you're going to craft into something different. So for an example, I've got iron ore. If I wanted to make iron ingots, each one's going to be 2 iron ore. So I activate the fire in the furnace, I click on the ore, and I want to make all 4 of them. And there's no timer because I've got custom settings on, but there's 4 iron ingots. Whereas if I don't have any iron ore, but I need to make some, it's a chance you've got to take, but go and gather some stone. And then if we activate that, we've got advanced refinement, and I want to make all 10 with my 30 stone. And once you've crafted it, you'll see that we went from 1 iron ore up to 4, so we got 3 from that. We got some carbon powder, we got some lead ore, we got inorganic salt ore, and we even got some copper ore. So if you are low on ores in your area and you need some, then go and gather some stone, come back to your furnace, use your advanced refinement, and it's going to give you random ores once you cook it. So next up, if you are looking to get your hands on plant mucus, which is used quite a lot in this game, what you need to do is find yourself some dandelions. Like right here I've got one. It looks a little bit like a fern, like a little bit similar, but it's got the yellow dandelion sitting on top. So if you gather that and you get some seeds, then what you want to do is put down a crop plot and start growing your dandelions. So once you've got your dandelion seeds, you've got your crop plot, you've planted the seeds. You can do it with all seeds, and fern is also going to get you plant mucus, but not as much. When it comes to the time where your dandelions have grown, if you look at the bottom of that box, you'll see that you have the option to harvest, but you do not want to do that because you'll lose pretty much all of your seeds over time. You won't get anywhere near as much when you're harvesting. What you want to do is get the strongest sickle you can. So over in the weapons bench, if we quickly come over here, for the cost of, 6 iron ingots and 4 rope, you can craft yourself an iron sickle. So if I pull out the sickle, we come back over to the crop plot. When we are over here, if we then harvest, just by hitting it, you'll see 14 plant mucus and 5 fiber. And it's happened again, 14 mucus and 5 fiber. Unfortunately, I got no seeds back. I don't know if the dandelions had to have grown more, because you can moisten them, you can fertilize them. But you'll see we've got over 25 plant mucus from 2 dandelions. So providing you're doing it all right, you're getting the seeds back and stuff, you're planting dandelions, you're growing them, you're going to get a lot of plant mucus in the front. And this game isn't just a crafting game, it's a survival game as well. You'll see at the bottom left, we have a temperature sort of meter. We've got hunger, we've got thirst, and we've got HP. It is very, very important to pay attention to your hydration and your hunger levels. So if you find animals, getting the meat off them and cooking it. If you have a look over here, we have some fish baskets. We've got a lot of fish baskets. Because we've changed our settings, we're getting a lot more than we should. But in here, we've got like 270 trout, which you can then, once you've unlocked the ability, take the trout to a bonfire and cook it into grilled fish. And another thing you can do if your fish baskets are empty, you can't find animals, if you look at these bushes and you go around collecting all of these, you're going to get some plant mucus from it as well when you're collecting all the fern. But you will see there we just got wild berries. Wild berries are very, very good for hydration and hunger. But if not, you can get essentially what I'm going to call rain collectors. They're dew collectors. You can get those, put them down, and they are going to, over time, gather water. I have a bunch in my inventory, so I found a load in a chest. So if I quickly pop one down, I say one. If I pop 10 down, I can show you exactly what they do. So once they have built themselves, if we open it up, over time, the inventory bar is going to fill up with water. It does it naturally. It doesn't have to be raining or anything like that. And the entire operation is automatic. You just come back over time and it will have put some water in there. And it's already bottled. You can drink it straight away the moment you pick it up. You'll see we already have a bottle in there. That's going to restore 20 hydration over 20 seconds. So essentially it's 1 hydration per second. But obviously the more of these you get, the more water you're going to start producing. And it's just going to build up over time. The stacks are capped at 10, so the most you can have in here is 20. So make sure you're emptying it often. Make sure you're drinking and eating to keep your hunger levels up, to stop being so thirsty and keep yourself hydrated, because survival is incredibly important in this game. If your hunger and your thirst go to nothing, you will start ticking your health damage and you will eventually die. And next up is, in terms of building structures, you'll see that I've got a nice house behind me. That's mine and Pete's. I can't access it until Pete comes online because the game does that. Even if you host a session, if someone else has their territory flag in place and the stuff is within their territory, even if you've placed it, it becomes their property, so you cannot use it when they are offline. But when it comes to building structures, if you want to upgrade your structures, so I've got a wood foundation here, but I'm fed up with wood, I want it stronger, more durability, I want to place down stone, instead of holding down F, checking your options and destroying it, if you get the foundation you want to upgrade it to, put it in your hand and press X, it lets you place it over the top of it. So it's called switch mode, and it lets you switch out old stuff for new. So now if I just click, it's going to get rid of the wood one for me and replace it with stone. So I don't need to knock down a bit of like foundation that's got loads of chests on it. I just need to switch blocks and it replaces it there and then. Then in the front, when your base is looking quite nice, you've got some stuff built up, you've got clothes for your character, you're underway with some basic weaponry, I highly recommend going out to explore. But we started off in the northeast of the map, like right at the top right of the map. That was our starting location. And over here, the best place we found to look for gear is to come to where this box is here. If I remember correctly, this is a church building. There's going to be quite a few enemies in the area, but the loot you are going to get from there is really helpful. The main thing is that you are going to have 2 talent crates in the church, and they are going to give you plenty of talent books. So that when it comes to your talent tree, you can use the books and the level that you've got your character to unlock buffs for your character. So for an example here, as long as you're level 6, you've got 9 talent books, or that's for level 2. But as long as you've got talent books, you're level 6, you can start upgrading Lumberjack, which is going to increase the amount of wood collected by chopping down trees. There are loads and loads of different talents, each for like every single category here. You'll see like combat is ridiculous with how many talents there are. And you'll see there's things like increasing the chance of inflicting slow when shooting legs with pistols and SMGs, and that goes up to by 10%. However, you do need to be level 20 in order to do that. But out of everywhere we've explored, and we've explored quite a lot in this game, the church we found on the main road in the northeast of the map is by far the best place. But 100% I highly recommend go out and explore. Leave your base as is, make sure it's protected or whatever's needed, go out and explore because you never know what you're going to find. And then related to exploring, we have these, what are called Imperial Territories. This is a massive dome that's on a hill. It's like an army camp. And there are lots and lots of enemies in there. Like you have grenadiers that are fully armoured. You've got commandos which have like full auto rapid firing assault rifles which slaughter you in the matter of a split second. We've managed to take down all of the enemies due to spawning on yourself every time you die. We've taken down all the every single enemy in the camp, and we find these camps in the game, at least for the time being, to be completely pointless. We found the church is much more beneficial to like getting stuff that's actually going to help out, because you'd think you kill an enemy that's got an assault rifle, there is a chance to get an assault rifle to drop. But when you kill enemies in this game, all you get is like ether shards, you get some talent books if you're lucky, you might get some bones, a bit of food. It's just random bits of loot. You're never really going to get any weapons off the enemies, so it's not worth going to the military camps and stuff. At least for the time being. When there's updates and stuff in the future, they could sort it all out, but at least for now, there's no point going to these like basically high risk areas because there is no high reward. You might find a couple of weapons in the chests with like within the camp, but on the enemies they're going to leave you nothing, and there's minimal weapons and stuff you'll find anyway. And if you're fed up with the church, you want some different loot, what I recommend for that is going out and finding the UFOs. It's going to be at this stage where it's far too bright and I can't actually show you what one looks like without running off for miles. So I'm going to go do that. I'll find a UFO, then I'll come back. So I'm not even joking when I say it's taken me about 20 minutes to find a UFO, because the time I decided to show you guys, the visibility in this game was awful. I couldn't see one at all. I've done a lot of roaming around. My base is here. I've gone all the way around here multiple times, and I've just managed to find, there's actually a couple now, and you'll see the beams are different colours. So these UFOs are going to be really helpful. Some of them, especially the low level ones, can be quite awful, but the higher level ones will give you some really good stuff. So basically, if you're fed up with the church, or you don't want to roam around and find the little villages and the little huts that are like basically they have one enemy near them, and if you don't want to go through the military camps and things like that, these UFOs are going to come in really handy. They're going to float around in certain areas of the map. They spawn in completely random. And what you want to do is go to the bottom of the beam for the UFO. This is going to give you supplies. So if I actually run down to this green one. So we've finally made it to the supplies. You'll see that the UFO is above me. So if we search this crate, We got some ether shards, some talent books. We got the blueprint for frag grenades for a chainsaw, a steel shovel, and we also got a Molotov cocktail. So now we've emptied that UFO is going to disappear. And these have a color coordination, they have like a rarity system, and they have a level range when you are looting them. So I wouldn't really start doing these UFOs until you're level 20, because there are different colors, as I said, and some of them aren't always going to contain some good loot. So it might be a waste of time traveling to a UFO, because some of them could be really, really far away. And basically the way it works is the green beam is going to be level 1 to 20, the blue is 21 to 30, the purple is 31 to 40, the orange beam is 41 to 50, and the red is level 50 plus. So they can sometimes contain really, really useful items, but there are level requirements to open them. So I wouldn't necessarily go for them until you can guarantee that you're at least able to open the green ones. So for an example, if you're level 10, you've just started, it's completely pointless because a lot of them are probably going to be like level 14, 16 and things like that. And then in this game, exploration is going to be your best friend. Exploring is going to be a lot better than just sitting around base building. But alongside that, there are different tools that are available. They are going to provide different benefits. They're going to basically gather resources at different speeds. So if I, for an example, I pull out my iron axe and I hit this rock, I'm going to get 3 stone. But then if I pull out my pickaxe and I hit it, I get 7 stone. So using a pickaxe is more beneficial on a rock. And it's the same for trees. If I use my pickaxe, I got 2 wood. If I switch out to my axe, I got 6 wood there, and you'll see I got 5 there. So different tools are going to have different uses, even though you can use some that aren't really like recommended for, like for an example, chopping down a tree. You can use a pickaxe if you want to, but your resource gathering is going to be a lot like more efficient if you use the correct tool, like on a tree using an axe. And then for an example, when it comes to animals, if you're looking to get meat, pretty much use anything like an axe or something. If you're looking to get hide, definitely use the knife. Then when it comes to some things in this game, it's not just about pressing F. F will just open up an inventory. What you need to do, like when it comes to the vehicles, for an example, is if you press F, it's not going to do anything. You hold it, it's going to get you in the car. But if you hold down F and you go to the bottom right, for an example, you have to click it as well. You can view the inventory, you can put in your gas so that you can actually drive your car. And then if we have a look over here, these are manual miners. They're going to mine for oil and for ores. If you press F on them, it just opens up the inventory. It doesn't do anything. You have to hold down F and then you can choose whether you want to collect ore or collect oil. So in order to access some functions in the game, it's not just pressing F, you have to hold it down. And just a side note for the manual miners, I would definitely recommend going AFK whilst these are working. They take a while, it's next level boring to sit there and watch them. And I'm pretty sure there's no idle timer in this game. You don't get kicked off the server or anything like that, especially when you're hosting your own game. So you can just sit there, go AFK, go for your dinner, go for a bath, do whatever you want to do, come back to it, and you should have a load of resources. Then in the front, just like Ark, you have the ability to tame. Is like recruit, whatever you want to call it, because they are humans in this game. You'll see an enemy right in front of me. We are going to essentially tame that enemy. We're going to recruit them. They're going to become a follower. In order to do this, what you need to do is unlock the ability to craft something called a simple jammer. It's a really, really early unlock. If you go to the tech tree, you'll see it right here. You're going to need iron ingots, tape, and ether shards. And then once you have them crafted, I'd say craft around 8 or something like that. Maybe even get a few more. I've currently got 16, but you're going to need those, and you're going to need either fruit pies, you're going to need some cooked meat, or you're going to need some wild berries. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come over to this enemy. We're going to attack them until an icon comes above their head. So if we come over to this enemy and we attack them and hit them again, providing I don't die, watch, she's going to ruin me. An axe probably wasn't the best idea. There you go, take that. So you'll see the icon above the head. If we now get out the jammer and we throw it at the enemy, if I can actually hit them, there we go. So they're now in a calm down sort of state. And if you go into their inventory, you go to the favorite foods, you've got the wild berries, you've got the roast meat, and you have the fruit pie. You need to put one of their favorite foods into their inventory bar so they can start eating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 98 wild berries in there, and you'll see that a lot of them are being consumed straight away. So if we come out of that inventory, what we now need to do is you'll see these green bars on the UI box that's on screen. You'll see chaos, you're going to see obedience as well. Those are the two you need to focus on. And that's also the reason you need quite a few simple jammers. Basically, what you need to do is get this obedience level up to 100% so that they become your follower. But if that chaos bar hits 0, they're going to get back up, start attacking you. You're going to lose everything you've put into trying to recruit that person as a follower. And that's why you need the simple jammers, because when their chaos bar starts getting quite far down, chuck another simple jammer at them, it's going to bring that bar up again. And their obedience goes up every single time they eat. So your job here is to get that obedience up to 100%. So you're going to see that that chaos bar is at about 650 now. So what I'm going to do is get out a jammer. We're going to throw it. And you'll see that the bar has gone back up to full. So now there's no chance this scavenger is going to get back up and start attacking, and the food in the inventory can keep that obedience level going up. And just make sure you actually hit the scavenger with the simple jammers, because I hit the ground in front of, a little bit in front, and it never filled up that chaos bar. So just be careful. Make sure you're throwing them at the character itself. So you'll see we're now at 98% on the obedience bar. We do not have long at all until this scavenger is our follower. The one thing I will say with this is it takes a very, very long time. An incredibly long time. And I believe it's even longer for other enemy types. So if you go to a military camp, you come across a grenadier, it's going to take even longer to do this. And any moment now, as soon as the fullness hits 171, we are going to have our very first follower. So what we need to do now is we need to subdue them. And once that is done, you'll see they actually get their own health bar and stuff on the left-hand side. But then if we go to recall a follower, their inventory needs to be emptied. So if we take the food out for a moment, if we then go to recall follower, what that is going to do is the follower is going to disappear. You get a scavenger that goes into your inventory. We've got the scavenger there. So if I put the scavenger in place of the bowlers, if we come over, let's just say to my furnace, what I can do now is I can open this and I can grab my follower. I can put her in there. And then what I can do is grab that food that I took and put it in the follower food bar, activate that, and now what the follower is going to do is actually going to get XP and everything like that. I don't know exactly how they work, because you would think the follower would be able to do something with getting ores and things like that, but I'm not entirely sure how everything regarding the followers works. But that is exactly how you tame, recruit, get yourself a follower in the front. So, the front is a game about leveling up. You advance through technology from basic stone tools and wooden armor to getting your own vehicles. You get powerful guns, I've got a shotgun, a rifle, things like that. What I recommend in this game is doing the tasks. You've got to also acknowledge the bugs that are in the game, because there are loads at the moment, including quite a rare one, and I'm going to say is relatively unique. It gave me the ability to no-clip, so I could fly around the map, and all of that happened when I simply tried placing a crop plot. So there are some weird bugs in this game, but obviously it's early access. Multiplayer's got some bugs in there as well, so you're gonna have to just accept the fact that there will be bugs when you're playing. The good thing is, with most of the bugs in the game, all you've got to do is quit out or close the game down, load it back up, load into your hosted game again, and the bugs will have resolved themselves. There's none that are really long lasting, none that are game breaking. Until it comes to the broken tasks, like collecting the crude oil, I don't think there is a way at the moment to fix that, unless the devs have done updates since I last played this properly and they have fixed it themselves. But alongside tasks and everything, I would explore as often as you possibly can. If you're, for an example, low on ores, then there are mines in the game. There's loads of different points of interest. You've got the church and stuff that we explained in the video. And when you go near that area, it will be marked on your map. But that is my beginner guide for the front, some tips and tricks to help you guys out. And make sure if you have any tips of your own to share them in the comments. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is appreciated. If you wish to support me further as a creator, there are links in the description. Let me know your thoughts about the video in the comments. And if you want to watch more, you can click the video on screen. All support on the channel is greatly appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.